Well, hello. You're very welcome. My name is Tim Burden from the Legacy of John Williams. Myself and my colleague Maurizio, who sadly can't be with us, but we are delighted to be working with thedailyjaws.com on a tremendous collaboration, the first collaboration. And on a very special day, we're launching this collaboration because it is John Williams' 90th birthday. And one of his most iconic, seminal, whatever adjective you'd like to choose, one of his best scores is Jaws. You know, we have a smorgasbord display. The theme is still working. I love that phrase that Mike Matessino wrote for the Mondo Jaws LP. Lots of terrific paraphernalia, but it's very much about the music, and the music is key to the success of Jaws. And what's extra special about the conversation we're having is our guest today, Richard Kaufman. You're very welcome, Richard.
Hello, Tim. How are you today?
Very good. And what's extra special about having you with us is you actually played on the score, the original score for Jaws back in 1975, and thus began a very fruitful friendship and collaboration with John Williams.
Yes, I played violin on the score.
Yes. Very important to state that as far as
yes,
you played a second violin. Was that right? Second violin section?
No, violin. I think I really don't remember. I don't remember. Could have been third violin. No, I really don't remember.
But back in the stage in 1975, and I remember showing you some photos of those sessions way back, and it must have been, thinking back to that period of time, one kind of, in a sense, random, because, obviously you were looking at these rough cuts on the screen, and you probably thought, this shot looks a bit clunky, looks a bit dodgy. As all musicians, did you in the studio think, is this going to work?
Well, let me put it this way. We didn't have a lot of time to look at the screen. There were a lot of notes, and everybody was quite busy. You could tell, working with John is always an event, and you could tell by the power of the music that there was something very special going on. And of course, Steven Spielberg was wandering around with his 8mm camera, I guess, and taking, movies and all that. But we were quite busy. In fact, I didn't wear glasses at that time. And after about 4 or 5 days of recording, I was getting headaches at the end of the day. And I went to an optometrist the following week. And I said, I've been getting headaches. He said, well, what do you do? What work do you do? I said, well, I'm a violinist and I play in the studios. He said, do you have to look at a lot of notes? And I had just finished Jaws. And I said, oh yeah, a lot of notes. He says, well, you need glasses. So I started wearing glasses because of Jaws.
But one of the things about Jaws, yes, the musicality and the intricacy of the writing is just phenomenal. And did you know, whenever you were in the studio, had you heard about, the issues with Jaws, about it running over time and schedules? Was it in the press or not really? No,
I hadn't heard a thing about it. And for all I knew, we were going to do another episode of 007 with the character Jaws, remember?
Yeah, Richard Kiel. Yes,
Richard Kiel.
Right. That's right.
But no, I hadn't heard anything at all. I was a studio violinist, and I was also working as a conductor, conducting for some different people like John Denver and that sort of thing, doing musicals. And so when I was in Los Angeles, I would play, very fortunate to play on recording sessions. And I was hired to be in the orchestra on Jaws and, working quite a bit, fortunately. And it really was exciting to be part of that. I always was in awe whenever I would play in an orchestra in the studios, in awe of the other players. And we did, a wonderful a video recently with some of the great studio players who played on Jaws and many other films. And I always felt, like I was sort of standing back, just thinking, well, I'd really like to get their autograph, but I better just sit over here and play. So, no, I'm really being serious. It's not a humble thing. I mean, I just, Luis DiTullio and Tommy Johnson and, Vince DeRosa. I mean, the list goes on. Ralph Grierson. You sit there in the string section and, you're just amazed at what those people can do and what they had been doing for a long time. And so it was a real event for me as a musician. And then, of course, meeting John made it, extremely special.
Yes, and we're going to cut away here to this fantastic photo of you with John Williams at the Shark poster. Brilliant. Yeah, so you can see it now on screen. Give us a bit of context, please, there, Richard. How did that take place? Were you performing that in concert anywhere, or?
No, I was about to go to Malaysia to conduct the Malaysian Philharmonic, and I was going to do a tribute to John Williams. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if John would agree to do a short video introduction welcoming the people in Kuala Lumpur? I'm sure he was asked to do that every day. And so it was arranged. He was so gracious, as he always is, and kind. And I went over to the office and we had a great visit, and he did the intro. And then we were standing in the hallway next to the Jaws poster. And I said, could we get a picture? And he laughed, said, sure. So somebody took a photo. And as we were standing there, he kind of aside to me, he said, oh, we look so much older. And I said to him, yes, but he said, we look so much older. I said, yes, but the shark looks exactly the same. And he laughed, and we just had a really wonderful visit. And it was great to have that photo, and it means a lot, having worked on the film and all that.
Absolutely, and indeed, and it endured, because after that 1975 session, you did a few more John Williams scores, didn't you? And
I did.
Yeah, I mean, Jaws 2 was certainly one of them, and
Jaws 2 was one of them. The unmentionable.
It's funny. I mean, Jaws 2, it does get a bad rap, but I think out of the sequels, it's definitely the best one, and I think most Jaws fans agree it's the best sequel, and no less so thanks to the return of John Williams and all of you playing on the score, because in some ways the score even tops. I remember one afternoon, whenever you came to visit over here, it was wonderful. I was playing you cues from Jaws 2, and I don't know if you remember that in my study, and you were kind of, I don't remember how good this score was, and it was lovely for me as a fan to experience that from you, because in a sense, I think it brought all these memories flooding back, and it is such a fantastic score, isn't it?
Well, I think that the original sound, the original score for Jaws, the original film, was so extraordinary and such a great experience that going to do something like that again, of course, John was brilliant with Jaws 2. He could have done Jaws 12 and he would have written a magnificent score. But it was, I think, the uniqueness of the film, the original film, and the story, basically people are eaten by a shark and everybody's afraid and you want to try to stop the shark. I mean, that's kind of it, and
yes.
It was sort of a been there, done that. But when I did hear the score again after a long time, I thought, wow, you know what, that was good. And it was no less of a challenge to play, and it was fun. But I had great experiences. After that, I played on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I played on Eiger Sanction, Midway, Family Plot, the final Alfred Hitchcock film.
That's right. And did Hitchcock, I mean, can you recall him, being in the sessions, and he was
I don't
quite
remember him being
spontaneous?
there.
No? Okay,
No,
right.
I don't remember him being at the sessions. He may have been, but then I also did a film called Black Sunday, which was all about a blimp filled
Yes,
with explosives that was going to blow up the Super Bowl. And,
that's right. There was a
you
great fugue in that
know,
score.
it was not a musical.
No.
And I remember that. But, anytime you sat down in the studio, every musician will tell you it's just a really great experience with John, and memorable. And you always knew that you were going to be challenged. And Jaws, it's tough in concert, playing the Shark Cage Fugue and all. I mean, that is a real test. And then when we do the film in concert, which I've done, it's sort of the ultimate quiet before the storm, because the first half of the film is very quiet. Everybody's kind of looking around and all that sort of thing. And then boom, as soon as they get on the fishing boat, all bets are off.
Yes, yes, and that
Yeah.
all that thrilling, kind of Corn Gordian music is just wonderful live, in the concert hall, live two picture, and some of the, whenever we think of the concerts which are coming up very soon, in certainly in Dublin and in Ireland on the 25th and 26th of February, you're going to be performing Jaws and many other fantastic John Williams pieces at the National Concert Hall, which will be exciting. That's the main Jaws theme, I think you're doing, aren't you?
Yes.
And then a little bit later in March, you're going to be in Fort Worth, Texas, to do music from Jaws too. So,
right, March 4, 5, and 6 with the Fort Worth Symphony. We'll do a tribute to John. I think a lot of people, a lot of orchestras are paying tribute to John and his not only his music, but paying tribute to him as a man, as a human being. And nobody deserves it more. So I get to do it with in Dublin, and then with Fort Worth, and then I'll be doing a concert with the New World Symphony in Miami, Florida, and we'll do some music of Jaws. We'll do Witches of Eastwick and one or two others. So yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store. How lucky am I?
It's a great segue because it's John Williams related, and just behind Richard, you might be able to see from Witches of Eastwick. Jack Nickerson and Richard Kaufman actually taught Jack Nickerson how to play the piano and the violin for
how to look like he was playing the piano and the violin.
Good point.
Yeah, it's a wonderful scene that he has with Susan Sarandon, where Jack is playing the devil. He's trying to entice Susan to be a very passionate cellist, and she's very reticent, but he brings the best and the worst out of her. And that was a great experience working on that film.
No, and it's such a great score. I mean, Devil's Dance. I've been fortunate to hear you play it live a few times, and it's so thrilling. I love the thunder sheets. It's such a simple little device, but it makes the concert hall shake. It's such a clever device. You don't often hear thunder sheets in pieces. But yes, it's the 90th birthday of John Williams today, and it's such a privilege and an honor, I think, to speak obviously to you about this great man, great composer. As you say, he isn't just a genius composer. He's such just a lovely human being, and I like that phrase you just used a minute ago.
Steven Spielberg, he said, quote, John Williams was the voice of Jaws. And Steven has been quoted as saying that 50% of the success of Jaws was the music. I believe that, I think, along with a lot of people, that without the music or with a different score, the shark might not have been as menacing. What an understatement that is. And the Academy thought so because it won the Best Oscar. And that was another thrill because I was in the orchestra for the Academy Awards that year that Jaws was nominated, and with a lot of the players who had played on the score. and John was the music director of the Oscars that year. And we were on stage. We weren't in the orchestra pit.
Okay.
And so when they were about to announce best score, he left the stage and someone else was there to conduct whatever film won. And Jaws won, and we played Yum Bum Bum Ba-da-da. He walked out, and then the whole orchestra was applauding. And he accepted the award, and it was really the ultimate. I remember after the ceremony, I was leaving the Music Center in Los Angeles at night, walking down some stairs outside, and I was walking up the stairs and he was coming down the stairs, or vice versa. And we had a moment just where I said, congratulations, I'm so thrilled, it's been so exciting, and he had a big smile. And so that's something that will always be in my mind's eye.
Yeah, a memory to cherish. Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
There's also, whenever you worked with, Lionel Newman and John Williams were very close, weren't they? Both professionally and personally. And,
Yes.
And there was a period where you would have worked very closely with Lionel Newman, isn't there? In your
Yes.
early days of your career, and I think you had an office near John Williams' office. Is that right? I think you.
Well, I was hired by Lionel Newman to be his sort of assistant. There was a lot going on, especially in television at 20th Century Fox. And so I had done a film called Unfaithfully Yours, where I had trained an actor, well, actually a couple of actors, Dudley Moore and Armand Assante, to look like musicians, conductor and violinists and all that. And I guess it worked out. And so Lionel brought me in, and I worked there for about 2.5 years for him. And in the music bungalow at Fox, when you walked in, if you went to the left, it was Lionel's office. And you went to the right, it was John Williams' office down the hall. And if you went straight ahead, there were licensing people and secretaries. And if you went all the way, then my office was in the back. And so I was there, and John would come in the morning, and he would go to work. And then he and Lionel would go to lunch at noon and come back at 1, and he'd go back to work. And at 5 o'clock approximately, he would out the door. And sometimes Herbert Spencer, the great orchestrator, would be there. And, it was a wonderful opportunity to be just in the environment of all of that as a young, person who really wanted to be part of film. And so I was really given an extraordinary opportunity. And then right after that, when I left because they weren't that busy, I had been called by Harry Loyevsky at MGM if I wanted to come over as music coordinator for MGM, and I was there for about 19 years.
Yeah.
So, but Lionel gave me a tremendous opportunity, and always grateful. Learned so much from him, and of course from John, and.
Oh, there's some wonderful memories. And again, there's a couple of pictures here of you with John Williams. There's on stage here. Now this photo, Richard, is it right? Is it the Young Musicians Foundation Orchestra?
Yeah, that photo is from a concert that we did with the Chicago Symphony. And I was asked by John to do the first half of the concert, and then he did the second half, which I've done, on other occasions. And the photo is at the end of. Usually, I would go and just kind of change into my, after concert clothes. But he said, I want you to come on stage afterwards. So he brought me on stage at the end of the second half to join him to take a bow. And then there's another photo in his dressing room on one of the evening concerts in formal dress that we took together.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting.
That's a photo you can see now. A tremendous photo. Yes. And, it's 90 years young, and February the 8th, 1932, such a legacy. It really is an incredible career. And Richard Kaufman has been wonderful sharing, this conversation with you. I mean, it's so significant, as I said, because of so many different connections. So it's almost like a family tree to an extent of, certainly the many connections with John Williams, Jaws, yourself, and of course the history of film music. So,
Well, I'm one of the smallest leaves on that tree, but I will tell you that just to be on that tree is one of the greatest honors and experiences that I've had in my career. I wish John many more years, and I know that he's going to outlive us all, which will be no surprise to anybody. But he's really an extraordinary man. And again, his music is some of the best ever written for film. But putting that aside, he is one of the most wonderful human beings who has ever been in the business. And when you combine that, then you have a legend who would never think of himself as a legend, one of the humblest people too. So I'm so glad to talk with you, Tim, and and congratulations to the Daily Jaws and all. It's so much fun to be able to know that the film is still out there. It's not going anywhere, and that people will always be hesitant to go in the ocean.
Thanks so much, Richard.
Thank you, Tim.
Special thanks to Richard Kaufman for being our first inaugural guest on our mutual collaboration with the Daily Jaws and the Legacy of John Williams. Thank you for watching, and most importantly, happy 90th birthday, John T. Williams.